Okay, the next step, we're going to put our Arduino onto our main board. This is the microcontroller that's, the brains that's powering the lip sync here. And we use header pins. This helps us out for a couple of reasons. Stops us from cooking the board, allows us to swap the Arduino if we get an issue with it or pull it out. And so I need to get this guy out of the way because I'm going to be soldering on these two rows of pins here. Okay. So again, orientate ourselves correctly. The Arduino, this little micro USB part, which can come off a little bit easy when you're plugging and pulling on it. So just be aware of that for later on. This, I'm going to put the legs on for this. There you go. Make sure we sort of line things up. Okay. And it should fit right in those two giant rows of pins. There we go. Get you in there, buddy. Aha. Okay. There we go. That's what it should look like. So make sure it's lined up. And what I usually do is I will solder the first couple, kind of tack it in, but then I'll take this board off. And the only reason I do that is, if you're having a bit of a tough time with the solder joint and you provide too much heat for too long, you can cause some issues. You can overheat components. So I use this to make sure it's nicely aligned and straight, and then once it's on, I get the board out of the way so I'm not going to cause any damage. So, now I've seen people do this very fastly. You can start getting a bit of a flow. You've been soldering for a bit here. Just be careful, It's easy to bridge these connections, and it's not a race. So yeah, just take your time with it. They are tight together, so you don't want to bridge them. That can cause you issues down the build. So make sure that's pushed in nice and tight. Go. This corner here, that's good. Same thing, I'll do this corner here. Now this one, you want to be really careful in here because you got these joystick parts, and you want to be careful of the angle of your iron. You don't want, you can see those sort of trace lines on the circuit board. You don't want to burn those out. So be very careful with your soldering iron here to get just the through-hole component and not the other parts of the circuit board. There we go. Needs a touch more solder. Apologize for the angle's not the best. Trying to, oops. There you go. That looks a little better, a little shinier. Okay. Oh, tackles two pieces. Looks like the board's pretty flush on either side. So I am, and don't pull on that little metal bit, you get it out. I've seen more than a couple Arduinos go that way. Some electronic components are cheaper. The Arduino and the microcontroller, it's a pretty penny. So there we go. So it's a little loose, but going flat. Put it back, and do the rest of these joints. To untangle my solder. There we go. Okay, I just see a couple of these could use a touch more. They look a little light, they look connected, but I don't want to be too frail. I want that nice sort of volcano mountain look, as opposed to just sort of connecting across a component. So I'll add a little more solder there. There we go. I think that's looking pretty good. Have a little more for you, buddy. How's that? There you go. Okay, tack this one over here. Make sure it's nice and flat still. Oh, glad I checked. It looks a little crooked. There we go. Straighten you out a bit. And again, I'm soldering this on the back side of the board. You can always remove components if you put the wrong spot, but solder sucking 17 bits and pulling it out, it can be a real nightmare. So if you do solder it on the wrong side, it's almost easier just to get another set of 17 position female headers and cut it out. Especially because if you're trying to heat all those pieces and pull it out, you can really overheat the circuit board and cause other damage. So, like sewing, measure twice, cut once, or woodwork. Similar with soldering, double check that you're putting the component on the right side before you start soldering. This is a little tricky one here, this little guy in between. There we go. Yeah, I didn't want to melt my white component, but it could be very tricky to get the tip right in there. There you go. Okay, looking pretty good. Empty pieces to make sure that the Arduino part still fits back in there as originally intended. There we go. Done step 4. Now we're going to, or step 5, sorry. So now we're going to go into building our joystick.